This week we talk about growing communities in music, making amazing music, and arranging songs. Hi, guys. Thanks for checking out this week's interview. I'm really excited to introduce Jen Hodge. She's been able to take some time out of her busy Christmas schedule to come chat with us, give us some insight into her art. I'm really excited to share some of the crazy things she's been doing in Vancouver in the music scene. She's played a whole bunch internationally and connected with a lot of artists locally as well. So, Jen, do you want to say a little bit about yourself and introduce to the audience?
Sure, yeah. My name's Jen Hodge. I'm a bass player and band leader based in Vancouver. I work in Seattle at least as much as I work in Vancouver, and I travel all over the place all the time as well. And thank you for having me here, Dan.
Yes, absolutely. Yeah, the first time I saw Jen Hodge, I believe she was playing with the Company B jazz band. And, I was really excited to come watch, four beautiful women wearing matching dresses playing amazing music and New Orleans jazz. So, thanks again for coming out. And you're going so much into that New Orleans style and bringing out so much life into music that hasn't maybe been as much in the forefront. Like, what really drives your art? What's the fire behind what you're doing?
I really thrive on the opportunity to bring lots of people together, and that's one of the things that I love the most about New Orleans style jazz. As opposed to how a lot of people view a lot of later styles of jazz, which is kind of maybe exclusively or that kind of thing. It doesn't have to be, but it winds up kind of being that way or being seen that way. New Orleans jazz is just a big party, and it's about there's always room for everyone. Like, it doesn't matter if there's 3 people playing or 25 people playing. It's just like, yeah, everyone get on in here, just have a good time, express yourself, dance. It's great. Yeah, and that makes a lot of sense. It really resonates for me. I feel that way about life as well as music.
That's awesome. Yeah, so really just creating great music and art.
Yeah, and community as well.
Yeah, great. Yeah. So what does your art mean to you? You're able to bring so much community and bring all these different musicians together. When you're able to create this music, how do you feel? Do you feel a certain way towards the performance, or you really delve and take home about the art, or what's your take on that?
Well, music is really everything to me, really. I feel like music is life and life is music, and anything that's true about life is also true about music and vice versa. So it's all kind of one and the same to me. So performing provides that human connection with the other musicians, but also with the audience, and that's just kind of what living is all about, I feel like.
Great. Yeah. And so bringing life to music and bringing life to community, that's really exciting. What do you hope your audience takes from your music and brings home, or maybe gets out of it when they're at the event or at a function or listening to an album?
Well, I mean, there's certainly a lot of things going on in the world right now that are unpleasant, and I think that there's a great need for music that gives people some respite from the news, and for music that gives people an opportunity to convene in the same place and have a good time together, maybe drink some beers, do some dancing, just relax and listen, whatever makes people feel connected with each other, and provide a bit of light in these sometimes dark times.
Great. Yeah, I think that's really exciting. Just bringing something positive and bringing highlight and being able to be part of that.
Yeah, I feel very fortunate to be in a position to be able to do that and provide that. It's pretty special.
That's awesome. And what do you get out of sharing your music with the audience and bringing them to that exciting place where they're able to take some time out of their day and really feel that? What do you take home, and what do you get out of putting all this hard work into connecting people driving to Seattle just as much as you're in Vancouver. And like, what do you feel? What do you get out of performing like that?
Well, it absolutely brings me to that place too of peace and leaving behind the other things that are happening. Like it's definitely what I would do to make myself feel better and whole and home and stuff. So I guess in that way I get the same thing out of it that I hope other people do as well. Yeah, and there's also perhaps obviously the creative outlet and the opportunity to make something, and that's very fulfilling for me as a creative person.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, I like how to the point you are with every single thing that we're chatting about. It's like two bass players talking together.
Yeah, right.
is really straight to the point, I feel.
Yeah.
And that's really really exciting. You're able to get down to the core of what you really love, and that's really great.
Yeah,
like I think you mentioned that you have a Christmas album coming out. Is that
yes,
right,
indeed. Yes, I have one right here, conveniently.
Yes.
Yeah, this is an EP that I've just put out. I don't know if I should set it down.
Yeah. We'll show you up here.
Oh, hey, there
cool.
it is.
Yes.
With
so, the Jen Hodge All Stars Christmas Treats.
Yeah. So, there's 4 tracks on this EP, and each one has a different lineup of all-stars, and it's all people from the traditional jazz and swing community here, mostly here in Vancouver, though there's a couple from further afield. Kelby McNair from Victoria and Brad Shigeta from Winnipeg, who happened to be in town when I was recording.
Okay.
Yeah.
Great.
Yeah, and I feel like I succeeded in that goal we've already talked about bringing lots of different people together. There's 15 different musicians between the 4 tracks, and they range in age from 18 to 89, and I purposely kind of mixed people up. And on the track that Brad Shigeta plays on, he's a phenomenal trombone player. He was based in New York City for a long time and played with the Duke Ellington Orchestra and Illinois Jacquette's Band and Barbra Streisand, etc. And I put him on a track with 21-year-old trombone player Sky Lambourne of the Rossi Gang.
Yeah.
And it just seemed like a bit of a weird, like, 2 trombones. That's weird, but it's great. and they had such a great time. They were so tickled by each other's playing, and it was just as inspiring for Brad, who's had this long illustrious career, as it was for Sky, who's like an ambitious young buck. They were really inspired by each other, and I love that track. That's one of the things I've recorded that I'm most proud of, actually.
Awesome. Yeah. We'll make sure to link to this album.
And
great. Share that favorite track.
Yeah, thanks.
That's awesome. So, like, out of here, you mentioned you were able to, like, bring together the different musicians and have that creative outlet too. Like, what in this album, just bringing that together, what sort of different aspects did you have? Like, were you arranging a lot of it, or letting the community of musicians that you brought together bring out that energy, or what sort of involvement can you share that a little bit?
That's such a great question. Thank you for asking me that. Yeah, I'm really stoked about how the arrangements came together for this. I had ideas for all of them. For my Jen Hodge All Stars project, I've generally endeavored to select repertoire from between 1900 and 1935. And I was getting asked, I've always gotten asked with this project to do a lot of Christmas parties when that time of the year rolled around. And I'd think, well, songs like Let It Snow or Santa Baby or I'll Be Home for Christmas, great tunes and perfect for jazz playing. But they were all written kind of World War II and later for the most part, with the exception of White Christmas, which was 1935. But most of the jazzy Christmas songs we know are all from much later than the time frame that I envisioned being right for that project. So these arrangements all came from me coming up with tune ideas for Christmas songs that people would have known or played during that time frame. So there's 3 traditional Christmas carols on here in jazz arrangements, and one from 1924, which was the earliest example I have been able to find yet of a commercial jazz Christmas tune, commercial Christmas tune.
Cool. Very cool.
Yeah, so the first track, for example, is it's Il est né le divin enfant, which is a French Christmas carol, and I had this concept for like a Sidney Bechet style arrangement. So there's that, and I God Rest Ye Merry Gentlemen, I feel lends itself really well to being a fast swing tune, and I've got Jolly Old St. Nicholas, which is like we do it really, really New Orleans laid back swing with a full traditional front line. And I had all of those ideas, and I'd played everything in like on gigs as background Christmas whatever at gigs. But it was in the studio that really the arrangements really came together. Like I went in and I was like, okay guys, I've got everybody that I want to be on each of these tracks in place now, and this is what I want to do with this tune, and like I know I want to have some flat picking guitar in this one, and I know I want to have tambourine in this one, and I know that in this section of this one I want to break it down to just the front line and do some shots or whatever. But it took everybody. I think everybody's unique voices and input went into making the arrangements really what they turned out being, which is better than I think it would have been if I had just gone and said, okay, you play this, no deviation.
That's awesome. Yeah. Adding some spice to the Christmas cake.
Yeah, and really making it feel like a big ol' extended jazz family gathering, I think it really feels like a community. It feels like a very accurate representation of the community here.
Great. That's amazing. Wow. I love it.
Yeah, cool. Thanks.
So yeah, like that's awesome to get some insight into like sort of the creative process a little bit, and like really because building music is a lot about making friendships and connecting with people, and just sharing art and creating something special for each person involved. And like, what might you recommend to up and coming musicians or students or people who are slowly getting into music? Do you have one takeaway that you really found brought you to, or concept or idea that brought you to where you were today?
Absolutely. Yeah, probably the number one thing that I would credit for where I am now and that I would recommend to younger musicians is reach out to musicians who are doing what you want to do. Like, go to people's gigs and talk to them, and like maybe even pester them if you have to. Just, ask people to jam, ask to sit in. That's the best thing, because I don't really think you can just get anywhere. Sorry, that's not very articulate.
Matters.
Maybe you can edit
100%.
that out.
Yeah.
Well, and if people are already doing what you would like to be doing, then it's like draw from their wisdom. And I feel like musicians, for the most part, are happy to impart their experiences on younger people that are interested.
That's amazing. Yeah. I would add one more thing too, is if you find a really cool older musician, get them drunk. They'll tell you all their secrets. It's a lot of fun.
True.
It's really
that
just
works.
it's hanging out and
it's bonding
making
too.
friends.
Yeah, absolutely.
I've like from where I am today. I'm a young guy, and there's definitely no way I would be where I am today unless I spent a lot of time with the older musicians who've already sort of done a lot of what I wanted to do. I had no idea what I was doing when I started, and that's awesome because there's so many opportunities and places to grow, and just choosing one avenue and starting is amazing.
Yeah, absolutely. And being willing to take any piece of advice that somebody more experienced than you might have to offer, and examine it, and see if it works for you or not. But always being open to hearing those things, I think, is very important.
Yeah, being thirsty and growing. And
Yeah, checking out all the different music.
yes, absolutely. And thank you guys for checking out this week's interview. Be sure to check out all of Jen's music. I love quite a bit of it, and the first thing I'm going to do when I get out here is check out this album because I'm pretty amped. And so, guys, thanks again for checking out this week's interview, and subscribe to our channel to check out more awesome musicians like Jen.
Yeah.
So thanks again, and Merry Christmas.
Merry Christmas.